Hello, and this is the first Spanish language review that we're showing. This is it's a non-spoiler review of the first season of House of Flowers, or La Casa de las Flores. It was a series created by Manolio Curio, and if I'm saying Spanish language words names wrong, I'm sorry. Some of these names I have not said before. It stars Cynthia Sauvé, who you may know from The People and Medium, a Medium CBS show for The People, a can't now canceled first season on ABC. You can find both on Hulu. And Marciano Trevino, who was also in Club of Crows or Club de Cuervos, and you may have seen people say "ah," which is the thing that they do for that show. And I will actually have a review of the series for that later on. Um, it's an ensemble show, and I'm just showing the test, mentioning those two because they're shows I've actually watched before, and shows that you can see on a streaming service, so you can say, "Oh, I've seen that person before." Everyone else are veteran actors in Mexico and beyond. Some people even in Israel I looked up when I looked on Wikipedia. Um, there's for the first season, because the second season has just arrived on Netflix. This is a show that you can find on Netflix, but I believe you can also see it in Mexico. This is the series centrals on Mexico, and it has three different plots. It has a Veronica and the family coming to terms with Ernesto's mistress, uh, suicide in child, them finding out that Ernesto's mistress Claudette uh, had a cabaret for drag kings named after the family's floor business, which is called House of Flowers. A little bio on it. This is a lot of this stuff is you will find on the first episode, so don't feel like this is any spoilers. This is a House of Flowers is a very famous floral arrangement place. It's operated right outside their home, and they're famous enough that the first episode they have a an anniversary, and they are having press and speeches, and it's a very big and expensive thing. And that's when a lot of the characters find out they come from a big family. And the third plot um, is basically about Veronica uh, forming a relationship with Ernesto's the people in Ernesto's life that they find out exist, including his mistress's son, which is not related to him. Um, and that storyline kind of starts in third episode. There's also a lot of other subplot storylines, but I didn't want to include those because those are heavily those to describe them or talk about them is to basically talk about the plot. And since this is a non-spoiler, I will say that I don't want to put it out there. Um, I will say this is that with any drama or Spanish language or anything outside of the United States, they usually do not portray Americans well. There is an American in here who, funny enough, does not speak Spanish very well, which is kind of how Americans put foreigners in that role. And so basically, the Americans are usually playing the foreign role. They're usually ignorant, stupid, or useless. And they are in the subplot, but they're not really in the story. And that's basically the character um, in this story. If you're triggered by that, you first have to understand one thing is that foreigners we consider foreigners or anybody outside the United States, we portray the same thing. And two, they portray they they don't see Americans as we see ourselves. They see Americans as loud and ignorant and boisterous. We see ourselves as very confident people. And if you go around the world, if you have a chance to go outside the United States, you will find out that that characteristics is not something that people celebrate. So I will say this: do not be irritated or put off by it, but understand that everybody in other countries do not see us in the same light. Um, it is only a couple of episodes for the first season. It's a healthy amount, but I believe 13 episodes, I think. Um, and the second season, I believe, will start off. I haven't watched it, but will have a review of the second season. Hopefully, after I finish watching. I didn't want to start until I did this, and I just think that on a scale of 1 to 10, I believe it is 6.5. That is only because one thing, they dragged on some of the storylines a little bit too long, and I wish it was a little bit longer and devoted less of the time to the love affair. When I feel like it's an ensemble show, and that sometimes they said things that I deemed inappropriate and may have triggered some people. So this you have to understand, this is out of the country kind of stuff, and standards of how they talk to people and see things are totally different. And when I did a review for Clever Crows, I also mentioned that once again, because there are some things that is offensive, but you have to remember us. In many parts of Latin America, they're very Catholic. So that is not all Hispanics and Latinos, but that is the reality that affects programming and how people see the world. So it's 6.5 stars. I'm gonna go watch it. I suggest you do, if you can overlook certain things, and if you don't, I understand. There are way more Spanish language and interesting things and dramas that don't have that kind of content in, and I suggest you go and watch. And I'm going to get more reviews, and I hope you enjoy today. All right, bye.